Okay, in this next section, we're going to work on shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts, and taking advantage of the features in Windows to help us type less and be more effective and efficient using the command prompt and just Windows in general. Okay, so in the command prompt and also in the graphical user interface. Okay, so one of the first things I want to show you are this set of commands here. Control A, which allows you to select all. Control C, which allows you to copy. Control X, which is cut. Control V, like Victor, is paste, and Control Z is undo. Okay. These five keyboard shortcuts are invaluable to you as an IT professional. Okay. There are a lot of keyboard shortcuts out there, and like once you learn these, you might be interested in researching and learning more. And there's a ton of them. But these are, in my opinion, and I'd say a lot of people that have worked in IT, a lot that have worked in programming, whatever, I would say most would agree these are sort of like the core five that you should absolutely have. Okay, so Control A is select all. As you can see, all the text in within my notepad has been selected. Okay, so I did Control A. Control C just copied whatever I selected. You only copy what's selected, right? So if I do Control V like Victor, you can see it pasted the same text again for me, right? So I'm going to delete this. All right. So V, we know it's paste. Control X is cut. So the difference between Control Copy and Control X is that Control Copy will copy everything and it will leave a copy there. Control X will make a copy, but it will cut that object, that text, so it's not there anymore. So there it is, Control X. Okay, so I could now paste this as many times as I want, but what Control X allowed me to do is to remove the text instead of just copying it. I copy it and I remove it, so I cut it out. Okay, so if I do some random stuff and I want to undo it, I'm not really sure how I screwed something up. This is especially good for a document. I'm not really sure what just happened. I do Control Z, and it will undo it. See, it'll actually revert back to the last thing. So see, it'll undo it. So for example, I type that, and then Control Z just undoes it. Okay, so that's another very useful one to undo. Let's say an accident or a mistake. Undo has saved me in situations where a customer is like, "Oh my God, I just typed, I just pressed a button and it just changed. It changed everything. I don't even know what I did wrong." I'll sometimes just try the Control Z and it'll just revert it back to what the document looked like before they accidentally press some kind of button. Okay, so those are the 4 shortcut keys that you should absolutely learn and use. You should use these every day. Okay, from this point forward, just try to use them. All right, so then within the command prompt, some of the tools that I need to learn about is that if I type a command like CMD, or not CMD, but let's say dir, and I want to change directories, all the stuff we've been doing, I can do it with a much easier method than what I've shown in the first couple of videos. So for example, if I want to do change directory and I want to go to pictures, I press enter, there it is. Okay, so I'm in pictures now. I do a dir, there I am. So I go back to student, I do a clear screen, and I do a dir. From here, if I want to change directories and I don't want to type the whole thing out, I could do it by using the tab key on your keyboard. So I could do, for example, and this works for any command. The tab key trick works with any command. Doesn't matter. This is just a universal Windows trick. All right, and for the command prompt. So if I want to go to, let's say, documents, I don't have to type this whole word out. I could just type the letter D, and then I press the tab button, and it'll cycle through all the different folders that start with the letter D. Okay, so I just gotta select documents, and I'm there. So I don't have to type that whole thing out. So I go change directory, go back. If I want to go to folder space 2, I do change directory, tab. I actually do change directory space F, then tab, and it goes to favorites, fold 1, and there it is, folder 2. And it even has the quotes around it, so I didn't have to worry about any of that, right? And then press enter, and there it is. Okay, cd dot dot, I go back. So as you can see, I don't have to type the whole thing out. Using the tab button allows me to cycle through every object within that directory. Now, if I don't designate a letter, it'll go through each and every one, which is fine. That's another way to do it. But if there's a bunch of stuff in that folder, I wouldn't want to waste the time constantly tapping on the tab button. Instead, I'll do, for example, change directories. If I want to go to saved games, I'll press I'll hit the S key, and then I'll do the tab, and then it'll go right there for me. So it saves me time. Again, these are time savers, and there's ways to be efficient and effective. Okay, people will be impressed when they see that you have this kind of stuff down, even if you're not a very fast keyboardist. But if you know these shortcuts and you have a command of these methods, you will show potential employers or whoever that you know what you're doing. You know how to be quick and efficient. Okay, you should learn a keyboard. Keyboarding is actually really important. It's good for you, but it's not absolutely necessary. Even as an IT pro, you don't have to be an excellent keyboarder. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple other things. So look at this. You know what? I'm gonna do a clear screen. Let's just look at a string of characters. So I'm using the up and down keys to cycle through all of the commands. Anytime you type a command, you could use the up and down arrows to cycle through all the commands. Okay. The other way to do it is you can type DOS key /history, and it'll give you a list of all the commands that you've typed. Okay. Another way to get your history is to go to your function 7 key. All right. So if I hit F7 and all the function keys are on the top of your keyboard, you'll notice F1 through F12. Those are your function keys. And so F7 within the command prompt will open up the secondary window, and it'll show you again a list of all the commands. And again, you could select one, press enter, and it'll type it for you. So another way to save yourself from typing. Either go use the up and down keys, or you could use DOS key, or you could use F7. Okay. Usually I just use the up and down keys. It's usually the fastest way. If you use the function keys on a laptop, a lot of times you have to also hold down an FN or function key, because laptop keyboards are usually a lot smaller. So you need sort of like an alternative way to use the same key for more than one purpose. So when you so I have an FN key right here on my keyboard, and if I press it down, then my function keys on the top of the keyboard all become functional. Okay. Let's do a clear screen. Couple of tricks you should know about just being within a line of text here. If I do my left and right arrows, I could go one character at a time. Okay. If I do the control, if I hold on control and I use the left right arrows, it'll go one word at a time. So this is a faster way to get through that. If I hold down the shift key, I will start selecting, or yeah, so as you're highlighting and selecting the text. So you can do Control C for copy, for example. If you look at your keyboard, you should find home and end. Home is always the beginning of a line of text, and end is at the end. So again, this kind of stuff is useful because I use it all the time at this point. Once you get in the habit of it, it really makes your life easier. And instead of going like this or like this, hey, you just go end, or you just go home. Because why? Because maybe you need to delete, and it wasn't change directories. You wanted to remove directory, right? So that's one way to get around things. Okay, let's see. What else do you need to know? Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think that pretty much covers managing the window. So you have the various types of shortcut keys. You have ways to save your time typing by using the tab button, and you have ways to go up and down your line of text so that it's quicker and more efficient. So I think that's pretty good for this section. Okay, so let's move on to the next one.